time. Feels like about a decade. Here we go, best of 7. Dima to start. Koki Niwa not holding back. The ball sits up a little bit. Thinks he can read it. Coach Kurashima, the head coach, in the corner. Yosuke Kurashima watching carefully. Forehand side 2. Now, one thing that Dima's really improved on this year is he's shortened up his strokes a little bit, and instead of going for straight power, he's worked on speed, and it's paid off dividends so far. He's been very effective against Timo Boll, Fan Zhendong, and many others. Well-placed half-long serve, light topspin from Koki Niwa for his first point. Long serve to the middle, and the third ball catches the edge. It's Koki Niwa's style. He's just bold. Picking the glue off the edge of the racket, possibly. Staying cool as usual. Beautiful backhand right off the bounce. The heat comes in, and Dima uses that wide stance to stay positioned in the backhand corner. Now, I will say pressure affects these players quite differently. Dima, I've seen miss a lot of serves when things get tight, and he knows that he lost his last encounter. Well, that was just, I mean, sometimes I guess right, and just happened to talk about it there. Still very early in the match. I didn't predict that Dima would be missing his serve right after I mentioned it. First towel break of the game and of the match. Koki Niwa trailing by 2. We've seen the service error with Dima versus many top Chinese players in the world. Inside out forehand, Niwa just stretching those feet out. See, that's just so fascinating. He didn't step, he didn't shuffle. He took one step with his right foot, just spread the feet to hit that inside out ball. Who else does that? Not 2 in a row, goes for it though. Koki Niwa, a very mysterious individual. That could be part of his popularity as well. When you watch him play, it's like you're watching him in his natural habitat, just peeking through the bushes. Quick off the bounce. Impressive to me that Koki Niwa is able to turn the corner that quickly after taking the backhand down the line. Now, there's one receive that Koki Niwa, as far as I know, created, or at least pulled out publicly against Dima in India. Call it the ballroom step around. Ballroom for short, we haven't seen it yet, but that backhand over the table has been very strong. So from down 1-4, right back in at 5-5, 4 out of the next 5 points for Koki Niwa. Shovel serve just longer than half long. Near the back of the table, Dima with some trouble. Again, had a chance to talk to Timo quite extensively about the game, his game, and even Dima's game with the new ball. Dima doesn't need to put in as much effort for power. Surprise, changing it up wide to the forehand. Koki Niwa moved a little early and had to pay for it. Second towel break of the game, and they're dead even. Been some fascinating matches so far. Had a chance to catch pretty much the whole match of Hina Hayata and Ju Yuling. I think the matches are just going to get better and better. In case you were curious what you just saw, a ball came in from the other court and Koki Niwa hit it about 50 feet across. Pretty rare to see someone pick up the ball and hit it that hard, just sideways. The recovery from Koki Niwa, he's moving over to the forehand side to take a backhand receive, which is risky enough, but he's confident because he can quickly take that wide backhand back right down the line into the Dima's backhand side. That's a new way to say it. Tomahawk back again. So you know what that looked like from Dima's side of the table? Sure, throughout the match you'll be seeing both players through the rallies. That's one of the signature serves that Dima has that he learned from his father. Deceptive spin, very subtle contact. A few left-handed players do this very well. Per Garell from Sweden, one of the most difficult servers in the game currently. Waldner, one of the greatest servers to ever play. Timo Boll said he just couldn't handle receiving the serves. Most people couldn't. As fast as that one comes off the bounce, Koki Niwa's shot just long to the short side. Watch the timing on this. Very bold. Takes it early. If that comes down, it's going to be trouble for Dima. Kick serve, jumps up into the edge of the racket. A 1-point lead for Dima. And a best of 7. Anything can happen. We've seen Dima come back many times after losing the first game and even the first few games. Chop block, but the follow-up attack doesn't come down. 2 game points for Dima to get some momentum and some confidence here in the first third towel break of the game. Now, I'd love to look back. This is one of the beauties of going back and checking results. ITTF.com or the official ITTF YouTube channel. Now, probably not the perfect time, but just to see how the games played out in the matches, their previous matches twice this year. Right off the bounce, smothering the ball. 1 game point saved. How does Koki Niwa feel about it? The world may never know. One left. Koki Niwa's been effective with his shovel serves. Once again, the shovel serve effective. More to the middle of the table, inviting that wide forehand attack. Or the attack to his wide forehand, rather. If it weren't for that exhale, sometimes it would be tough to know that Koki Niwa feels anything. Spinny backhand, and it's game point for Koki Niwa. 3 in a row. You can see the tension building up in the shoulders. Dmitry Ovatcharav, again, won 4 titles this year, plus the Men's World Cup. Inside out forehand, beautiful shot from Koki Niwa. Hey Koki, did you just win game 1 or what? Business as usual. Look at this ball, side-swiped, bending away out of the long wingspan reach of Dmitry Ovatcharav, and it's going to be an uphill battle. Best of 7, game 2 coming up right after this.
Aber kannst du manchmal auch nur abtropfen lassen und dann in die Ballwechsel reingehen, weil den Ball, den braucht er, dass er Druck kriegt und dann kann er Umlauf auf den Ball gehen. Ja? Auf geht's.
As we come back for game 2, there are a lot of questions to be asked. One of which could be, how do you coach Koki Niwa? Such a mysterious player. Of course, he's taken coaching throughout his life. I think it was around the time he was 14 years old that he became a professional player. My friends started talking about him in the United States. The short game, that flip from the forehand side. Niwa, quite good typically over the table. And a long kick serve, heavy top and side from Dima. Niwa trying to play it wide, but the side spin carries it out. Oh, Koki Niwa, please win that point. Just that one, if nothing else. Whoever wins this match, if Koki Niwa wins this point, I can't remember the last time I saw him switch hands. He just pulled a Timo Boll out there after and around the net shot. This is Colton Robino and Vladi. Note to self, 3-0 game 2. Okay. Several points to go back and watch for sure throughout this match. Short side. Koki Niwa so fast to change it up. Getting in that battle with Dima's backhand, very few come out alive. It's not typically a way to win a match. Niwa, look at the placement there. Just a little bit of side on it as well. I feel like Koki Niwa is getting more power in his game than he used to have as well. He did beat Shushin earlier this year after all. Kick serve, Niwa hangs in there for the second bounce. So this is right now the most talked about match this tournament, the match that everybody's been predicting since the draw. What will happen? Flash photography in the crowd. But does he care is the question. Enough to call it out. Just making sure it's gone. He's sort of like a superhero. Just missing the contact on the step around. Now, while it's fun to build up the personality, of course, or the lack of personality it appears on the court, just the styling of Koki Niwa. Maybe the character that he is. We have to remember, Dmitry Ovatcharav is at the best year of his life, and he's been nicknamed the King of Europe for pretty much the past 3 years. Despite the incredible year that Timo Boll has had, Dmitry Ovatcharav has won everything they've played on the World Tour 3 times. Inside out forehand again. And for those of you a little bit newer to table tennis, typically inside out means he's hitting some side spin on the ball, hitting the inside of the ball. Once again, that side spin left on it, carries that forehand wide. Second towel break of the game, Dima in a much more convincing position. The timing of Koki Niwa, though, it's really difficult to tell where he's gonna go. It's part of his mystery. That's maybe why he doesn't do any interviews. If you can understand his personality, you can get inside his head. But as Jun Mizutani said in our car ride, I think it's simply that he's shy. He's the shyest player that Jun Mizutani knows. Took me a while to learn that, actually. Second serve here, down by 3. Mistimes the second shot there. After the short play comes back and Dima opens. Cleaning off the top sheet of rubber there, making sure he's got perfect traction for spinning the ball. There it was, oh, the ballroom reception. But it was not received. 5 game points for Dima. Koki Niwa! Koki! Come on! This is just out of this world, another level. He plays, what, a flat hit right down the line off the bounce, sees the ball high with Dima behind the table, just plays it softly and calmly. The bare hand, Dima with a clean winner. Niwa doesn't care, check this out, no chance. Almost makes it with his hand. That would have been pretty awesome. It wouldn't have counted because he wasn't holding the racket. If it was the hand holding the racket, it would have been good. The thrills aplenty here. Lot to go. Game number 3, it's tied up. We'll see who takes the lead in game number 3 right after this.
Hast immer die Möglichkeit, kurz zu schupfen, zu weich zu flippen und bei deinem Aufschlag manchmal Unterschnitt oder geraden Aufschlag zu machen. Ja? よく見て、難しかったらちょっと入れてからラリーでカウンター待てばいいんだよ。頑張れ。
Back for game number 3. Again, dead even, 1 game apiece. 11-6 in the last game for Dima, who's scored 21 points so far versus Koki Niwa's 18. Oh, service error again. That's 2 for Dima. We will see. It's still quite early in the match. That's the sort of pressure Koki Niwa puts on players, though. Empty serve. You could almost read the label from here. Koki Niwa's receive popped up a little bit, earns the 3rd ball for Dima. See how much more rotation is on the receive than the serve. Beautiful counter. Saw the apology from Koki Niwa. Not sure exactly what it was with the contact, maybe top edge of the racket. Dima is the quickest to find cracks in the ball of anybody on the World Tour. The footwork, about 4 steps for Koki Niwa, would have been 2 of Dmitry Ovcharov's, and he still runs down this forehand. The speed, and the short side once again. Fearless Koki Niwa. Burning building anywhere? Call Koki Niwa. Send up the Niwa signal. Top edge, and it disorients Koki Niwa. You just never know what you're gonna get. Koki Niwa's like a box of chocolates. Chop block. Right down the middle, that's tough. If it's a little bit more to the backhand side, he's gonna have a little bit more racket speed coming into this, but the point, just the contact, misses the contact by a little. From that camera angle, it actually looked a little bit more reasonable. Although with Koki Niwa, it doesn't have to be reasonable. That's not part of the criteria. What other humans find reasonable, Koki Niwa finds boring. Big save for Dima from behind the table. When Koki Niwa's on top of the table, he's quite dangerous. Pretty much anywhere on the court, though. That's not true of most players his height. Heavy underspin serve, that shovel so difficult to read. There's an interesting parallel plot going on right now. You've heard many times how Dmitry Ovcharov, if he wins this match, will be world #1. No questions asked. Come January, world rankings. So that's the first order of business, but I will say there is a lifeline. Hypothetically, if he loses, there's another player to watch to see if Dima still has a chance to be world #1 in January. That player is Fan Zhendong. He will determine who becomes world #1 if Dima does not get through this match. But with a receive like that, it's going to be very difficult to win points against Dima. His 3rd ball is too strong given the space. Missing the contact again. It sounded clean, but it went right down. Looked like it slipped off the racket a bit. Let's see it one more time in this replay. The bottom of the net, that's quite unusual. Koki Niwa checking his equipment, making sure he cleans the top sheet. Excellent pace from Dima, right back. Comes into the short forehand side, gets back to the deep backhand corner. Coach Kurashima wincing in the back, thinking up a plan. Second towel break of the game, Dima leading by 2. Koki Niwa apologizing. Dima said chole, it sounded like. Interesting, interesting. Dima looked around just to see if anybody else saw it. Natural thing to do. Can someone confirm that? And he said, okay, it hit. Okay. Big point for Dima here to hang on to the lead, extend it back to a 2-point lead. Koki Niwa playing this ball spinny and low. Very difficult backhand. This is a lot of hard work for Dima, the hardest working player in Europe. Koki Niwa in there for the pace, the patterns he's predicting well, he's countering quickly. And the timeout here, Dmitry Ovatcharav will be talking to the ITTF Star Coach of the Year, Jorg Roskopf. Jorg Roskopf for me has been a star coach for as long as I've known him. Watching him interact with the German national team in the dining halls to the practice hall, he just has a wonderful attitude. He's so cheery, so supportive. He knows the players so well. He's obviously incredibly well respected as a legend of the sport. Auf geht's, come on, let's go, he says. Short and sweet. I've talked to Dima about this before, and sometimes the timeouts, it's not so much about specific advice. Sometimes it's more about just getting some confidence from the coach. Obviously, there were a few German words exchanged earlier that were at a low volume, that even if I had heard chances are quite good, I wouldn't have understood. Spinny opening backhand does not bother Koki Niwa, just counters it off the bounce. It's so fascinating how players from the same national association, if anyone says, oh, it's another Japanese player, boy, are you mistaken. From Tomokazu Harimoto on one end, Koki Niwa on the other. Look at this aggression. Serve comes long and Niwa just eats it for breakfast. He's got a relatively short stroke. I mean, just the length of his arm. Still generates a lot of power. Oh, just long! All around the court. The inside-out forehand from Koki Niwa. I'd love to see this point again. Thank you very much. There's the rip. Chases it down, fishes it. Niwa up in the air. And just long. So 2 game points for Koki Niwa. He was trailing 6-8, scored 4 in a row. Oh, Burns turns the corner a little early. Thought he had the serve low enough. Had handcuffed Dima into no option but to play it to the deep backhand corner. Something within reach. It's tough to tell if someone cheered Niwa or Dima. Second game point. Oh, just long on the backhand. Deja vu, a little role reversal from game number 1. It was Dima who had 10-8. Slightly softer play here from Dima. After all, he has played the big expensive strokes and Niwa has returned them quickly. Deuce number 1. Misses the contact from the middle of the body. Dima plays it right into the elbow. Excellent placement for the loop. And that's 3 in a row. Dima earns game point. The crowd getting quite excited here. Outstanding play once again, 3 in a row to the backhand. Picking that fight, for me, it's not that he's picking a fight with Dima's backhand, it's that he's changing the pattern. After playing 2 to the backhand and then moving it out middle of the table or even looking for the forehand down the line shot before, thought maybe he'd get Dima moving that way. Second deuce point. Outside of the table, no good, he says. I think he says Dima's point. Dima apologizing, clipping the net, wiping his hand. You can tell he's tense right now. And that caught the top edge of the table. Would have been quite interesting. Backhand again, a little apology here. Fourth towel break of the game. Not sure exactly what the apology was for. Maybe we can see here. His fist was clinched. Premature Cho. This is why you can't celebrate until the point is over. It's a tough situation to be in. It's often one of the most embarrassing ways to lose a point while celebrating that you've won it. And it looks like heavy spin. Dima overcompensates, plays it into the net. Niwa with another game point, not 14, but that's the one, 13-12. A little bit out in front. Dima's made that shot many times before. And the no spin serve goes long. Niwa sneaks out the game, 14-12. An exciting match indeed, but I think you knew that was going to happen when you started watching. Niwa leading 2-1. We'll be back for game 4 right after this short break. So as we come back for game number 4, just a reminder, if Dima wins this match, automatically world #1 no matter what happens in the rest of the tournament. If he loses this match and Fan Zhendong wins the tournament, as far as I understand it, that is the only way that Dima will not be world #1. So Koki Niwa wins here. Fan Zhendong doesn't lose another match this tournament. Then Fan Zhendong will be #1 in the world. He is so fast with this. As soon as he sees that backswing from Dima, he starts setting up for the counterattack. Starts hopping around the corner. I think Dima's gonna have to take a little bit of the Koki Niwa medicine, play some quick surprise shots down the short side, mix it up a bit. But from the backhand, that's across court there. It's the length of the table. The serves of Koki Niwa have clearly been giving some trouble to Dima. Dima checking for the cracks on the ball. Looked like he couldn't decide who he wanted to show it to first. Koki Niwa or the umpire. Thinking about all the different intense matches I've seen this year, and one of the most intense matches was Dmitry Ovatcharav versus Alexander Shibaev, the Men's World Cup. Koki Niwa so quick to move around in these counter rallies. This is the first year I feel like I've always respected Koki Niwa, but I haven't fully understood how dangerous he can be and how impressive he can be in these rallies. Creative, yes. Powerful, fast. Wow, that's the longest serve. That's a tennis serve. So I think that would be a fault, but he gets a second. No, not in table tennis. In case you're newer, I'm just pulling your leg here. Another service error. That's the 3rd for Dima. A little emotion from Koki Niwa, a little frustration. 5-0 lead would have been nice for Niwa to go up 3-1. Still early in the game. First towel break of the game, and Koki Niwa in a pretty solid position. Just a little sniff there, maybe some congestion. That's close, other than that hand swipe we saw. I was gonna say a little sniff, congestion is close to emotion. Man, the crowd is going crazy. 2 exciting matches happening at once. And this time he turns early. Smart play. Dima changes up the direction, waits patiently, doesn't go for power. Trying to overpower Koki Niwa and hitting it to where he's at. Not nearly as effective as what was just done here. Smart play by Dima. Good tactics. The match on table 2 is Vladimir Samsonov, another legend of Europe, versus Wang Chunting. Go back and check that out later. The highlights on YouTube, ITTF's YouTube channel. Inside out forehand, very patient from Koki Niwa. Waits to see which way Dima's gonna go, and I think when you earn a high ball, this usually pays off. We see a lot of the top players doing that. Taking their time, placement over power. Oh, back edge for Dima. Quick apology. I think we are in the Asian side of Kazakhstan. Just trying to remember if we were in Europe right now or Asia. Chop block comes down, but it sits just high enough. Dima is quick to get there and smack through the ball. Koki Niwa typically leaves these quite low. From that camera angle, you could actually see it was a little bit lower than it looked, still above net height. Not an easy ball. So timeout on Koki Niwa's side. Head coach Kurashima, Yosuke Kurashima, has been working with the Japanese national team. He has one of the most fascinating projects. I love to think about what life is like for different people in the world, not just in table tennis, but especially in table tennis. Chiquita, the banana. Now, if you thought you heard Captain America at the end, I don't think that's what he said. He did talk about the Chiquita coming in for the receive, it appeared. Getting in early with a spinny backhand shot from the forehand side. A little bit of side spin on it as well. Now, he mentioned you heard long serve, long sabu. Question is, was he saying be aware of a possible long serve, look for the opportunity to attack from behind the table? Oh, chop block just long. This is something, it was almost like an aggressive chop block, a bit of side spin on it, mostly side spin. And the timeout does not deter the next point. Coach of the Year, Jorg Roskopf, on his feet in support of Dmitry Ovatcharav. For the first time in the longest time, maybe ever, Germany has been a threat to China. And I think that's a big part of why we saw Jorg Roskopf accepting an award last night. For how many decades? China has only been rivaled by Sweden for maybe 87 through 2010. Excuse me, through 2000, 13 years or so. Of course, there was the Generation Appelgren and even Stellan Bankston before that. But the Waldner-Persson years, those were the best ones, the glory years, it seemed, in recent history for Sweden. There's that very nonchalant step around from Niwa, but misses the contact. 4 points in a row for Dima since Koki Niwa's timeout. Not really committing to that wide one, trying to just bring it back on the table, keep his position. Koki Niwa watching the other match, just looking over to see what's happening. I mean, I do that, but I'm not Koki Niwa. And Dmitry Ovatcharav, 11-6. Fascinating turnaround. The timeout was Niwa's timeout, but it seemed to favor Dima. So tied up at 2 games apiece. We'll see who takes game number 5 because it's starting right after this.
spielt der oft bei dir dann in deine Vorhand rein. Ja? Dass du da auch ein bisschen wartest da drauf. Ja? Aufschlag.
Back for game number 5. The match just finished in a spectacular way between Vladi and Wang Chunting. Dmitry Ovatcharav and Koki Niwa building the foundation of an epic 7-game thriller we will see. There it is. Little space on the table. Koki Niwa finds it and runs right through with a fast forehand. I was wondering how many of those serves we would see. It's been a little while since we've seen that backhand serve. Another crack in the ball. Niwa says, okay, he's right. It's funny, Dima is so aware of the conditions, from a table being slightly off balance, slightly concave. I mean, really, if you want to manufacture a table, talk to Dima. He should be your supervisor, your advisor on that. Ball as well. Interestingly enough, with that catch, Niwa's free hand comes up. I've seen a handful of players who do this. Some of the women from Japan on their receive. It almost looks like they're calling let. Rarely does the opponent take it that way. Niwa down into the breakdance move, touching the ground. Oh, Koki Niwa. This is some emotion, some expression out here. Sitting down on the ground in disappointment. Dima blocking from mid-distance. It's interesting, when he was playing the big strokes, the placement and the anticipation from Koki Niwa. With all the stuff Koki Niwa is pulling out, I'd like to see him win a few of these points. This jumping push. I think that's probably the cutest shot we've seen in a long time. It's right out of a video game. Koki Niwa rarely loses points like this. The last few, okay. First towel break, Dima just up by 2. Feels like, because of the few points that Koki Niwa has lost, it feels like he's losing by more than he is right now. It's interesting to see the tactical change. Dima, he's a big guy. He used to play from behind the table a lot and found himself sacrificing, taking back a little bit of power, holding back, and playing a speedier game. That's what he said after some of his big wins, between beating Fan Zhendong at 15-13 in Game 7. The German Open. And here he seems to be doing a little bit the opposite. Maybe not the opposite, I should say. He is holding back a little bit of power until he has the opportunity, but he's slowing the game down a little bit, playing mid-distance. If he can't find an early attack, making Koki Niwa earn it. Saying, okay, you give me some power, give me something to work with. But then he has the opening here, sets up a long third ball, takes it down the line. Funny enough, we saw the same thing just earlier with Ju Yuling versus Hina Hayata. Hina Hayata was just killing Ju Yuling, and then Ju Yuling slowed the game down and everything changed. Oh, right off the bounce, Niwa, the wide angle. One parallel, short stroke to the very corner. Was that the fist again? Was that the Chole fist? so quick at the back of the table. If that was in fact the Chole fist, be the second time we've seen it in this match that Dima's prematurely celebrated a point. Would he have been able to get that ball back? Either way, who knows? Nice placement, Koki Niwa changing the pattern. Quite unpredictable. Dima's tongue looks greenish yellow. Not sure if I'm the only one who's seen that, but he stuck it out a few times. I'm not sure if it's the product of an energy drink or some snack he's been having for energy between games. The food's been quite delicious here in Kazakhstan. Horse. And a big streak here. I think that's 4 in a row. I remember 3-6. So Koki Niwa, bit of a streak here, but still only leading by 1. Not a lot of wiggle room. But if there is any room, Koki Niwa will wiggle. Did you see that free hand come up? You see this in baseball, for example, a batter stepping out of the box for a minute saying, I've been waiting too long, give me a moment. Occasionally in table tennis as well, similar idea. Hold on, I'm not ready. Big point for Dima. Powerful topspin to the length of the table. Niwa trying to play it back short. The grunt face. Rare we get to see that as well. Soft and spinny inside out to follow. Koki Niwa, very unpredictable patterns, very clever. Always keeping the opponent guessing. Awkward ball, not sure if that got the edge or not. Either way, deep to the backhand side. There it was, that yellowish greenish tongue. Wow. I have to know. I will update you as soon as I do. 1 point lead for Dima. Oh, completely standing up. Takes the shot, realizes, wait, maybe it could come back. Third towel break of the game. Koki Niwa. You've heard of one-hit wonders in the music world. It's a one-shot wonder right there. David and Goliath style, too. By stature alone, you wouldn't expect him to be so bold to hit a shot that he's confident is going to finish the point. Shrug of the shoulders, that's my life. Right down the line, and Niwa, game point to go up 3-2. Again, pressure. Dmitry Ovatcharav has never been world #1 before. Oh, what a way for Niwa to take it. A break off the top of the net, and Dima with a high sitter tries to play it down the line. Look how high this one's sitting. Oh, wow, apology. Niwa, that's some real genuine apology. You could see the wince in the face there. We got table tennis players from Russia, from Kazakhstan, from all over there watching. Either way, we'll be back. It's a 3-2 lead for Japan's Koki Niwa. Game number 6, right after this.
ブロックしっかり打ち抜かないと絶対質低いループかけると回ってきたりとか絶対カウンター打たれる打てるときはでフォアに打つとかそこでレシーブいけるだけもういっていいからミドルやってもバックに勝負かける今みたいにできるときフォア。
And as we come back for game number 6, the crowd chanting for Dima. Again, coaching Koki Niwa. Coach Kurashima, sort of have to wonder. It's like you have to understand him before you can fully coach him. And I think if anybody understands Koki Niwa, or the closest to understanding Koki Niwa anyone can be, is probably Coach Kurashima. Sounded like there was some conversation about the counter game. Edge of the racket will not come down. Outstanding rally again from both players here. Dima hangs in throughout the point, checks for cracks. I thought for a moment we might see another hand switch from Koki Niwa. Broken ball. Maybe Dima just has that much power. The wet shirt this time instead of the mouth to dry it off. Not dry it off rather, but take the dry layer off the outside of the ball. I think if Dima were to put it in his mouth right now, we'd have a yellowish greenish ball. Grunt for every shot. Koki Niwa starting to nod his head. I'm curious what we'll see in the years of Koki Niwa in terms of personality and development, how he develops as he climbs in the world rankings. He was number 5 in the world just recently, number 8 currently. Soft receive for Niwa to control it like that. Very few people with a fast topspin serve are able to take the pace off the ball for Dima. Leave him hung out to dry, just a step behind the table. Shot block too late. Dima's surprise placement down the line. There are a lot of fathers who have influenced their children, really helped them to grow to be who they are. Yu Harimoto was nominated for Coach of the Year for all he's done with Tomokazu Harimoto. Kirill Gerasimenko's dad will be coaching him later today. Used to play on the national team with a friend of mine. Interestingly enough, Dima's father, Michael, 1983, was one of the top European players, or at least a very strong professional player in Europe. Smart play right into the body. Doesn't go for the safe long shot. Koki Niwa evaluating the risk here, forcing a fast reaction off Dima. But yes, Michael Ovatcharav, Dima's father, taught him the signature serves you see. Well placed right into the body. Koki Niwa's middle, smaller than most. Caught racket head straight up in near the elbow. That is a product of Dima's precise placement. Oh, chop block too wide. Now Koki Niwa, typically one of the best chop blocks in the world, in the modern game anyway. He's landed a very low percentage of chop blocks this match. Left on the backhand corner, quite thankful. That was a break, not the first time. Game point in game number 5. Koki Niwa also couldn't believe he escaped with the game. 2-point lead for Dima. A lot of pressure here, though. Too good. No catch. But he takes the point. That's the most important part here. Playing the long shot cross court with the step around forehand, a few in a row. And then on top of the ball, just covers it so quickly. Racket speed from Koki Niwa. Really keeps that racket up between the shots. Shot block ready to roll. Doesn't matter. Doesn't come over the net. 6 points apiece. If Koki Niwa wins this game, he wins the match, and it becomes the Fan Zhendong show. Fan Zhendong has had his challenges. Many top players in the world here, from Timo Boll to Xu Xin, Fang Bo, Lin Gaoyuan. Just to name a few, that is. Oh, burn, beautiful shot. Dima right where he needs to be. Perfect time and perfect placement. The opposite corner of the table. Koki Niwa wins so many of these exchanges because he's so unpredictable. But Dima gets it right, just swats it back the other way. Those long arms, gets around the ball. Up by 1 now. This one escapes. It's got to add to the pressure for Dima, having Niwa on the other side of the table, so calm and cool. Big opening shot. Yeah, the tongue of Dima, I'm really not sure what it is. You see him keep sticking out his tongue. Except for right now, of course, but right after the point anyway. Back in the lead by 1, second serve for Dima. Just long. The tension is building. Starting to make the gritting your teeth face here in the commentator's booth. What is he thinking? Oh, misses the contact on the touch shot. Catches the edge of the racket. Clever idea to leave it short one more time. The obvious play would have been to go deep to the backhand. Play it against the momentum. Catch Dima moving the wrong way. Edge of the racket again, and Niwa not satisfied. 2 points in a row. Sets down the racket, third towel break. There's the signature Dima push where the pinky comes up and the head of the racket tilts down like he's digging into the table. And his signature chole, there's that tongue. Quick off the bounce, the receive wide out. Niwa saves 1 game point. If he saves 1 more, you can see the pressure. He pounds his chest. I'm sure there's enough pounding going on inside it. Maybe he's just trying to balance it out from the outside. Counter pound the heart. Second game point for Dima on his serve. Spin goes long. Top edge of the racket, and Dima's serve pays off 11-9 the last 2 games. This is getting tight, and once again, a 7-game thriller. You've been promised nothing, but you have been given a thriller of a match. Stay right here, game number 7, coming up right after this. Alrighty, get yourself nice and comfortable. The decider, game number 7. This will be the last time that you see both of these players in this tournament in the singles event. Dima starting strong. As a matter of fact, this will be the last time you see both of these players in this tournament, period. Neither player in the doubles event here. Nothing too fancy here. Spinny shot from Niwa. Again, he's very comfortable to change up the pace in the rally. Interestingly, it was game number 2, game number 3. Maybe game number 2, Dima started softening up the pace. I think when Dima feels a sense of urgency to finish the points, it changes things up quite a bit. And because Niwa has such a different rhythm than everybody else, it's tough to find yours against him. Is the power of being creative in table tennis. Softer shot, not sure what the apology was for, but that backhand, not a kill shot. Let's see if we can tell from this angle. Maybe a little bit off the top of the net. It's a very taut net to keep the ball in play. First 4 points split. That's the backhand, the ripping backhand from Dima. Very few players have been able to compete. Koki Niwa stayed in the rally many times against that backhand. We've even seen him win points going straight to the backhand a few times, changing up the placement to the backhand. Second or third shot of the rally. Softer, spinnier ball. It's all very interesting to me. Watching these two, this is going to be either player's game, either player's match for that matter. Threes all across the board at the first towel break. Koki Niwa planning a little bit. Believe it or not, he does that. Has sort of the fly by the seat of your pants type of vibe. I think Koki Niwa was saying it hit my shirt. Otherwise, you can't imagine he would stand still in the middle of this point. Tough to tell from this camera angle. Yeah, I can't tell anything from there. Dima plays the point all the way through. So they're gonna switch sides of the table now that Dima has 5 points. The other possibility about that one where Niwa was standing still, I wouldn't put it past him. Maybe he just thought, you know what, I'm so out of position. If Dima hits it way wide, I could just injure myself running for it. I'm just gonna stay here and see if that phases him out. Sometimes standing still or not moving has worked quite well for Koki Niwa, as we saw against Fangbo. Big point for a 3-point lead. For Dima, this would be revenge. But he hasn't crossed the finish line yet. If he gets 5 more points before Niwa gets his 10th, Dima is world number 1. Oh, too strong, fast long serve. Right to the far corner and then one down the line. If someone was trying to beat parking out of a stadium, they might leave around now, but it's times like this where the comebacks are even more spectacular. The more unthinkable they are, the more impressive they become, the more memorable. Oh, right off the bounce. Koki Niwa fast. Did he win the point? You couldn't tell by body language. But I think many players at this point, you know, some are going to be choling, chewing, and everything else, trying to pump themselves up. Koki Niwa knows he's got a long way to go. I wonder if he were to come back and win this match, what we would see, what sort of emotions we would see on the court. Second towel break just finished. Dima still up by 4. Oh, the fast long serve into the backhand side. Dima's been using the long serves very effectively late here in Game 7, especially considering he had 3 service errors coming in to what, maybe game number 5? In the first few games of this match, 3 service errors. And Koki Niwa lackluster here. He's done everything. He's won points this way, he's lost points this way, but this one goes straight down. And Dima with 6 match points. Not yet one save, 10-4. I talked about those comebacks, and I think the biggest comebacks in the last 2 years have all been from 10-4. One of which was Shushin, one of which was Timo Boll, both of which were against Lingao Yuan, at least this year. Maybe it was 10-5 with Shushin. And there it is, planet Earth, you have a new world number 1. The king of Europe is the king of the planet. Dmitry Ovatcharav has worked so hard, and what a match. Congratulations to Dima, to Jenny, to Emma, to Germany. And wow, Dmitry Ovatcharav points at his name. He is the new world number 1 for the first time in his life. And for the first time in 35 months, we will have a non-Ma Long as world number 1. The coach of the year has taken him through it. Jorg Roskopf has been here in the corner from Dima's personal coach Hong. And everyone else who's worked with him, Jorg Roskopf has been the cheerleader, the man behind him in the corner. the woman behind the man, Jenny Ovatcharav, but all the work with 4 titles on the World Tour, the Men's World Cup, and now an entry into the quarterfinals. Dima will be world number 1. What an exciting time for table tennis and for the Ovatcharav family. The score is there on the screen. A narrow escape in game number 6 and a dominant game number 7. Dmitry Ovatcharav, it is his time in history. He's already on the Men's World Cup to be recognized as a non-Chinese world number 1, the first time since Timo Boll. Wow. So the tournament will continue, but some big news here right now. This will be the story you read in papers around the world and on the ITTF website, table tennis magazines galore. Stick around, we've got the hometown favorite, Kirill the Thrill Gerasimenko versus Tomokazu Harimoto, the 14-year-old who's taken the world by storm. Should be a close match. Stay right here to watch it.